In a remote corner of the Pacific Ocean lies New Zealand's South Island. Over the millennia, an unprecedented flora and fauna has been able to develop here. This unique nature not only fascinates adventurers, but also those that live here. For them, New Zealand is one of the most beautiful places on Earth. Of all the untamed landscapes of New Zealand, the Southern Alps are perhaps one of mankind's greatest challenges. The area surrounding Mount Cook is especially popular with outdoor freaks. Elke Braun-Elvert is a professional mountain guide and makes the almost impassable terrain accessible for guests from around the world. Here in Godley Valley is where this not exactly risk-free adventure begins. It will take them across the mountain ridge of the island, on to the wild Pacific coast.
We're in the Southern Alps and we're skiing from the Mackenzie country to the west coast. It is a very challenging ski traverse. It requires a high level of technical skill, both in ski ability and mountaineering ability. And coupled with that, you also have New Zealand's weather conditions. That's notoriously difficult to get an extended period of fine weather in New Zealand. I basically find it hard to rest and relax unless I know I'm well prepared and that everything is organised and in its place.
Elke is responsible for the safety and high spirits within the group. The multi-day tour will lead them across 4 passes and 5 glaciers. The hikers will spend the night in the valley to gather their strength. During the next few days, they will need all of the energy and concentration they can muster. The early pioneers were afraid of ghosts, which were said to have ambushed the careless adventurers. For Elke, this is the perfect warm-up for the skiing trip.
Employees make note and fear, for whisky is forbidden here. For months of snow creates less slaughter than a visit from the devil's daughter. But they say that whisky often leaks upon the well-known godly peaks. But they mix it well with sparkling water to keep away the devil's daughter.
Oh, I held up properly.
Okay, let's swap them over.
The night before the great skiing adventure is peaceful and starlit. What will the coming day have to offer? Otago Beach in the southeast of New Zealand. This is where once used to be the unreserved kingdom of New Zealand's sea lions. Colonies with hundreds of animals once ruled the beaches. Today, the remaining sea lions have to share the sand and the surf with humans. This sometimes leads to conflict and danger. Adult sea lion bulls can exceed 3.5 meters in length and weigh around 450 kilograms. The sea lions have good reason to fear humans. For centuries, they were hunted down until just a few of them managed to survive. So few that they ceased to bring their offspring into the world on the beach, but rather developed a globally unique strategy that they considered more safe. The females withdraw to the forest close to the coast to give birth, where they are already expected.
Where you can see a sea lion's been sleeping, and the sea lions, when they're hot, they throw sand over themselves. So I'd say a sea lion's been just lying here, throwing a bit of sand around. So the problem is these marks could be 2 months old or 6 months old, so they tend to stay around for a while.
Sean McConkey has documented the development of the New Zealand sea lions in Otago for many years, and to this end has established a foundation for the protection of these rare animals. Individuals can be identified by means of electronic chips implanted under their skin.
I think it's probably Madeline or Lena. For any long-term animal study, you need to be able to recognise individual animals. Otherwise, you don't know how long they're living for. You don't know if it's the same ones that you're seeing every day or if it's completely different animals. You don't know when they start breeding, how many pups they have, how often they breed. All of that life history information that's really important. The mother's quite close by, and she's going to be defensive of her pup. So as soon as we move to grab the pup, the mother's going to potentially be a bit aggressive. And especially if she can see us, she'll keep on coming towards us. So what we've got to do is we've got to get the pup and we've got to get it out of sight.
Before leaving the forest, each newborn has its fin marked and receives a microchip implant.
Fend off and distract the female while we get the pup away.
Capturing the little one is not as simple as one may think. A mother's bite can break bones. Reason enough to remain calm and prudent.
She'll struggle less if she's got the front flippers tucked up. All right.
The other one in, no?
Where's the chip reader?
Yep.
The short moment of shock when being marked doesn't seem to worry the sea lions too much.
You know, it almost feels like, you know, it's your family and your group, and, you know, you're looking after them, and every year you're watching them grow, and they start breeding, and so, you know, it's just really nice to be a part of that sort of ongoing legacy that the sea lions are creating.
Their search for a suitable birthplace leads the sea lion mothers up to 3 kilometres into the country's interior. Sean has to find all of the females in the forest. In New Zealand, just 10 to 15 sea lion babies see the light of day. This is why each and every one of them is of great importance in regard to the future of the entire population. He carefully approaches to read out the electronic chip under the sea lion's skin.
Jim.
Each newborn increases hopes that a new colony can be developed and that one day sea lions will once again thrive everywhere on New Zealand's beaches. As soon as it's strong enough, the mother leads her offspring to the beach. Before long, it will swim out for thousands of kilometers into the Pacific, and if all goes well, it will return to this beach and bring its own offspring into the world. Behind the coast of Otago, the countryside is dry and barren. Summers here are hot, and the wind sweeps unchecked across the open mountain peaks. Difficult conditions for the flora and fauna. The Raulia plant protects itself from wind and heat with heavy-duty cushions comprising fine, hairy leaves. Seen from afar, the plant is hardly distinguishable from sheep, which is why it is often referred to as sheep's carpet. These bizarre-looking sheep wear a real and thick wool carpet and have managed to remain undiscovered in the highlands for years. The merino's hair doesn't break and grows at an astonishing rate when the animals are not regularly shorn. The sheep belong to Mike Lindsay's herd that he keeps scattered around the plateau.
I have known for a year or two of their existence, but I'd never been able to see them, and we were wondering whether they were a bit like the, what is it, Himalayan Yeti, is it, or something? they never seemed to be there when I wanted to find them. I'm still amazed at how much wool they have on them, and so we're all looking forward to seeing just how much wool is on them.
Walk up.
I'm hoping that it's going to be in excess of 30 kilograms.
Come here, boy.
We'll
5.
find out tonight.
A merino fleece with a weight of around 30 kilograms, as Mike estimates, would be a real sensation amongst the sheep enthusiasts of New Zealand. The hitherto heaviest fleece weighed just over 37 kilograms.
Sit down, down. 5.
The decision will be made in this hall. At a competition where professional sheep shearer Peter Kaffali will participate.
These sheep tonight are going to take 15 to 20 minutes or half an hour to shear. They are very, very difficult to shear with all that wool on. This is a brand new pair of shears that come out of a packet from England. When you get a new pair of shears, it takes about an hour or so to get them ready so you can shear a sheep. So you've got to grind them, and also you've got to put a driver on, which is that. And this is what you do. And this is what they did for hundreds of years. This is how they ground the shears. You sharpen the shears with the oil stone, like that. Yeah. After I've been shearing for two hours, and I usually sharpen my shears after every sheep, you've got to come back to the grindstone and grind again.
This evening, both shepherd and sheep can achieve local celebrity status. In addition to neighbours and friends, a Guinness Book of Records representative is present to confirm the results.
I think it's going to be at least 35 kgs.
31 kilos.
32 kilos? 36 kgs.
Expectations on the sheep and the shearer are high. Normally, a merino sheepskin weighs around 4 to 5 kilograms. Peter carries out his work carefully. He is by far slower with his traditional scissors than his colleagues with their electric machines.
This man has a world record, I understand, as well on ewes.
But he is more sensitive, and the risk of injuring the sheep is lower. The mechanical scissors also enable him to leave slightly more fleece on the sheep's body. Every gram used for a record attempt leaves the sheep with less protection against the cold. The mountains of wool that Mike gathers together are considerable, but shearing doesn't only cause relief for the sheep.
Blade shear costs more money, but we've got to make sure the sheep stay healthy and fit, and that's it's a personal choice from farmers. Shouldn't be any bother to look after in the shed, should they? So.
Estimates are made prior to weighing.
Oh, Joe, well, 33 kilograms, he says, so we'll see how good he is.
So, talking white reckons 33 kilograms. 23.8.
Wow.
At 23.8 kilograms, the first fleece lies significantly below expectations. One can see the disappointment in Mike and Peter's faces. Even the third sheep fails to deliver the desired record.
24.9.
Now, this is exciting. The last sheepskin is hoisted onto the scales.
30.3. So that's a world record fleece. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a world record fleece.
The fourth sheep delivers the record, an incredible 30.3 kilograms. Mike proudly presents the fluffy merino wool fleece. Tomorrow, the photo of the participants will be on the newsstands in all of New Zealand's newspapers. But some have trouble understanding. Why all the fuss about a new haircut? Others obviously felt inspired by the sheep circus. Later on, the new record holder will receive another special honour.
So, we have the first knighthood given to a sheep in this country. Thank you.
4 seasons on one day is typical of the South Island, say the New Zealanders. In the mountains, the frequent weather changes are very intense. This also has an effect on Elke and her skiing hikers.
We delayed by an hour because when I first got up it was at 4:30. It was not looking so good. It was snowing. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Smooth movement.
Okay, Keith. It should be okay.
The destination of today's tour is a cabin high up in the mountains. But first of all, there's a large snowfield to be negotiated. A short while ago, an avalanche plunged into the valley here. The chance that the freshly fallen snow warms up and slides off is high. Even after the group has safely traversed the valley, it still has a long way to go. The mountaineers have to hurry in order to reach the cabin before darkness falls.
When I start zigzagging, please do one on each zigzag. So I zig, you zag. Yeah.
What means zigzag? Also zigzag is
Zickzack.
Yeah. No, but what you mean with
Ich zick, du zack.
Ah, okay, always.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
During their descent, the adventurers discover an ice cave, left behind by a glacier on its way to the west coast.
Well, I just get down in there, have a look, see what's there.
An irresistible invitation for the enthusiastic skiers.
Go for it! Woo-hoo!
deeper the group progresses into the mountain range, the more unpredictable the weather becomes.
All right, so down here, just take it easy because the snow's going to be different and changing. So Murchison Hut up there in profile, you can just see it, the little black thing.
But just as the group heads off on the day's final stage, the sky closes in. All of the orientation points disappear into the snow flurries. The hikers have to rely on Elka to bring them all safe and sound to the cabin.
So the line we want now is that way. Yeah.
Are we halfway down?
Yeah, we're over halfway there. This is Darwin Corner.
It's nightfall, and the skiers have still not arrived at the cabin.
Following Elka. And I have no idea where we are going. Never been here before. Can't see anything, as you could see.
Without headlamps and GPS, the group would be lost. When they finally reach their destination, the door of the shelter is blocked by the snow masses. Time for some serious shoveling. No one has been here for weeks. The mood lightens once they're inside. Elke is relieved.
Really? It looks like it's green steam.
But first of all, everyone has to regain their strength.
What's for dinner? We have homemade dehyde, which is beef curry with brown rice. I figured a bit of extra heat energy would help.
In the early morning, Elke prepares for the next stage. She tries to assess the weather conditions, including possible avalanches. The radio reports help her to evaluate if and when it would be prudent to abort. The day's objective is to reach the west coast. Far into New Zealand's southwest is where the smooth slopes of the Southern Alps, formed by glaciers, meet the Pacific Ocean. Here is the Fjordland National Park. More than 1 million unpopulated hectares, dense evergreen rainforests, and countless remote fjords. The islands were isolated from the rest of the world for millions of years. Several plant and animal species developed here that can be found nowhere else. Species for which New Zealand is famous, like the flightless kiwis, or keas, highly intelligent parrots that live in burrows where they rear their offspring. When the humans came, they brought dangerous new arrivals with them, leaving the native animals helplessly exposed to this day. They weren't prepared for weasels, rats, or cats. This is why many of New Zealand's species are close to extinction. But there are people who have decided to confront this fatal development. The ship, now being loaded and equipped, will soon set forth under government contract to liberate the fjordland natural paradise from immigrated predators. At the same time, scientists want to regain secure sanctuaries for indigenous species. One man knows the fjordland like the back of his hand.
My name is Peter Young. I work for the Department of Conservation. I'm the skipper of the Southern Winds, which does all the dock work in Fjordland and Stewart Island, a large range of conservation stuff.
Peter has no problems navigating his southern winds through New Zealand's changeable weather. Their course through the pristine fjords is as routine as it is unique. The scientists on board are specialists in combating alien species. In order to achieve their goal of liberating fjordland from harmful new arrivals, Peter and his crew have distributed hundreds of traps along the coast and on the islands. And every trap has to be monitored.
I'd be keen to get up there someday. I don't think you would ever get up there.
The area is difficult to access. Land visits have to be meticulously planned. Meeting points for later collection are also designated.
The main reason for the boat, or the main focus of the boat, is island restoration work. So the current mission is stroke trapping on Resolution Island, and at this moment there's 13 on the boat. Once everybody's sort of sorted, we start taking them round to the various places where they're going to be working for the day and dropping them off.
Chicken eggs serve as decoys, packaged in break-proof mini containers. The island they want to visit today is actually considered pest-free, yet Peter still wants to make sure that individual pests have not remained unnoticed. The boat drops the rangers off at different sections of the island. They want to monitor the traps and furnish them with new chicken egg decoys. The fjords between the islands form a natural barrier against land mammals. Best conditions to be able to liberate individual islands from introduced land mammal predators. The sites are difficult to access. Dense, bushy forests cover the steep slopes.
Ah, shit.
Trap by trap has to be individually unscrewed, examined and equipped with a new decoy. This is piecework and a real marathon. Each empty trap, void of rats, martens or other predators, is proof of the success of the mission and protection of nature. As far as Peter Young is concerned, his commitment to rescuing New Zealand's threatened species is a matter of course.
From early stage of my life, I had a huge appreciation for Fjordland and had a lot to do with Fjordland. It's like my home, so it's good to look after it, put something back. And that's pretty cool to get somewhere where no one's ever been before. It's something that not a lot of people in the world will ever get to do, you know.
As captain, Peter has the responsibility of ensuring that all crew members return safely on board. This time, nearly all of the traps were empty, a good sign. In their battle against the imported pests, The rangers seem to be slowly gaining the upper hand.
Making a difference has been a big thing. Everybody, I think, likes to make a difference in their life, and if you can make a bit of a difference in fjordland, it's a pretty cool thing to do, I think. It's a great job and a great place.
On land, the natural barriers for predators are missing. For this reason, predator-free islands in the forest are being created by high-security fencing, designed to ensure the safety of indigenous species.
We do kiwi conservation. That's the reason that we started. But we now have a lot of endemic species, so New Zealand native species here. We've got the parrots, so kakariki, like these ones, pigeon, tuatara as well, so we have reptiles too. And many of these species we breed, and some of them, like the kiwi, we release into the wild. So yeah, we do have various projects going on to try and help other New Zealand native birds and reptiles too.
Lizzie Perrette is a biologist. She takes care of the rare northern brown kiwis in Otago. Today, it's a tara. The kiwi male's turn to be weighed.
So we're going to weigh a tara. So this is his weekly weigh-in. So we have to briefly wake him up and pick him up, pop him in the box, just weigh him, and then we put him back to bed straight away. So that's the plan. So hopefully he's not too wriggly. So he's going to sleep under my jacket. Here you go, buddy. So this is him. He's a wriggler. Here we go. Right, so I'm going to pop him in the box quickly. This kiwi has a habit of sort of tap dancing in the box, so he rarely stays still. It's going just above, just below 1 kilogram. 9. This one is special. He's got lots and lots of energy.
I keep picking up 9.8.
Okay, do you want to grab him this time, Katie, and then I can just feel down his backbone? It's in my way. When we hold them, we have to make sure that we don't squeeze their sides, because kiwi haven't got a keel bone, so they haven't got a bone going down the middle. So it means that if you push on their sides, you can hurt them more. So that's why Katie has a hold of his feet. He's gone back to sleep. Pop him back, yeah. So we always just put him back through the door, so he wriggles back into his burrow. That's him. Oh. Back to sleep, and then he'll be up at about 6:30 to find the food that we'll leave out for him and forage in the pen as well. So that'd be good.
Kiwis are nocturnal animals. They leave their burrows under cover of darkness to search for food. Kiwis have bad eyesight, but hear very well. And they have something very rare to birds, an extraordinarily good sense of smell. This they use to sniff out worms, insects, fruit, and anything edible in the dark. It's just a short trip. The male has to return soon to keep the egg that a female laid in his burrow warm. The next day, Lizzie wants to find out when the kiwi chick will hatch. Freshly hatched chicks are easy prey for rats and need special protective measures.
He went back to bed at
The night vision camera recordings will show whether or not the male returned to his egg in the burrow.
That's good. That's good, good, good. Okay, cool. He's in there. That's what matters. All right, pop that down there.
Carefully, Lizzie pulls the egg out from beneath the bird's stomach. She examines the structures behind the eggshell under a blanket, with light provided by a torch. In doing so, Lizzie can determine how far the embryo is developed and just when the chick will hatch.
I think we are here, because there's this point here. So we've definitely got an irregular shape. So I don't think you can see it in the daylight. Just maybe. So you can see the air cell. Yep. Which was pretty good, and it was really dark, and the air cell was really, really big. But we definitely hadn't got to this stage, so we weren't at internal pip. The air cell was complete. So I think we're getting close. Yep. Maybe a week we might see hatching start.
Excellent. Yeah. And we'll have another chick on our hands.
Have another chick. Do you know what I laughed at? What? You went, excellent. And it felt like an egg joke.
Each freshly hatched chick is a reason for joy. The work in the enclosure is having an impact. The number of brown kiwis in the wilderness is slowly rising. When the first humans set foot on New Zealand 700 years ago, they discovered a rich, yet alien nature. The Maoris, as the descendants of the Polynesians call themselves, had to learn a lot about their new country. This conferred to them a deep and respectful relationship to nature.
There's a living thing that's flowing through here. This river is really important to this whole region, and it's an ancestral river, that belongs to the people.
Sonny Alisana and his son are Maori. It is important to Sonny to keep the culture of his ancestors alive and to pass on their values to the next generation.
We'll be remiss if we didn't think that this river is important to other generations coming through, and we don't want to lose that. The river, it has a heartbeat of its own, and so we've got to bring that heartbeat out in what we perform, in the haka that we're performing, explaining what the river is. What we're doing with that explanation is we're bringing that to life.
Here in Nelson's Community Hall, Sonny and his group have created their own haka dance. The haka is not a war dance per se, as it is often assumed. It is much more and serves, among other things, as a welcoming ritual or for the exchange of stories. It's a combination of classical motifs and independent ideas. Rhythm and synchrony form the basis of a perfect haka. The Kapa Haka group rehearses for their performance at the Maori Culture Festival Te Matatini, which means many faces. This year, Christchurch, the biggest town on the South Island, hosts the festival and its many thousands of spectators. Groups have arrived from all over. Many have choreographed their haka themselves, written their own songs, and designed and produced their own costumes, with which to honour the Maori culture and keep it alive. The festival is a meeting place of all of the different Maori tribes from north and south. Up until the last minute, everyone works on their own choreographies ahead of the big spectacle. The most emotional passages of the haka are only whispered during rehearsals. In this way, the dancers want to maintain their mana, their entire strength for the stage. Strength is being gathered high up in the mountains too. The final day of Elke and her group's skiing trip begins.
If you like, we've got Makona here and hot chocolate powder. Do you want a Makona? Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Thanks, Mom.
The adventurers prepare to go. They still have half of the course before them. The weather is still changeable, and even the condition of the soil beneath their feet is surprisingly uncomfortable, all just before vision is drastically impaired.
We're right in the middle of it, and there's it does fall away quite quickly down in here, and at the moment I can't see any edges, like it's really hard to see stuff, so without the definition, there's no big walls to look at, so we'll go back up again.
I would call this a rock slalom.
Actually, the mountaineers had expected a continuous blanket of snow here.
They rock the Salomon skis.
Looking forward to getting to the west coast and out of this weather. It's unusual that it's that way around.
Yes, it's soaking wet, it's cold, ski touring sucks.
The group is forced to remove the skis. The ground is far too stony. Elke tries to gain an overview of the area to find a way for the group to make better progress.
We can get through there. 5 minutes and we'll be back on skins. It's good.
The skiing tourists mobilize all of their energy. They sense that they're close to their destination.
It's much safer. Yeah.
Wow, we got right to the bottom.
Yeah, look at this view.
Awesome! Yahoo!
Yeah, I'll come up.
Four seasons in one day, as the New Zealanders say. This is also true of the group's collective mood. Despondent the 1 minute, now all of them are full of beans, ready for the final hike. Just one more ascent separates them from the Pacific. The deep blue sea now extends behind the white peaks. The view compensates for the hard day.
What a contrast though, huh?
What a absolutely gigantic contrast.
I mean, this morning is probably like the worst skiing you've ever had.
Not really.
No? We were soaked.
Yes.
It was like there was complete like pea soup and couldn't see a thing, and it was just damp and miserable and moraine.
The mountain hikers enjoy one more sublime moment before they dive into party mode. Elke has successfully led her little skiing group through New Zealand's mountains. The Haka Festival, Te Matatini, lasts for 5 days. All of the performances are broadcast live in radio and television. Now things get serious for Sonny and his ensemble. Originally, the traditional Maori tattoos, or moko, were etched into the skin with small bone chisels. The fine scars were coloured using a mixture of ash and oil. A moko provides information as to someone's social status. Then, at last, it's off to the festival grounds. Haka and singing help combat stress and tension. The festival is the Maori's most important cultural event. Every year, the organisation is shared by 2 tribes. The name, Te Matatini, or Many Faces, also stands for the unity of today's once hostile Maori tribes. Vocals, dance and the costumes of every single group are assessed by the jury. Also amongst the spectators, many New Zealanders with European roots participate in the Maori heritage. For all of those unfamiliar with Te Reo, the language of the Maoris, Sonny's Kapa Haka performance is translated into English. In the end, a successful event for everyone.
Tiring, exhilarating, just glad to get it over and done with. We've put it out there on the stage, that's all we need to ask for. Proud of the team. We had 9 new performers, never performed before, and to get up on the stage at Matatini and actually give it their all, those 9, I want to congratulate them. They're just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Amazing, just like the entire south of New Zealand. From the highest peaks to the tropical coasts, a fascinating combination of landscapes, species and people. Adventurous, sincere and enchanting.